It's common sense. It's simple. And don't let anyone tell you it isn't, because we can solve the problem with a couple of simple reforms. Okay? Medical boards, loser pays, and there's a third way that if you want to address tort reform, it's sort of a modified workers' comp situation, where it's called something called just culture that is being espoused, where it's not wrong to say I'm sorry. If you now have a cerebral palsy baby, only 4% of which are due to birth injury, but account for most of the C-sections and most of the lawsuits in my business. What would happen under a just culture would be that the case would be reviewed by medical experts, there would be a schedule of injury because we know how much it costs to take care of a baby with cerebral palsy for their lifetime. There'd be no pain and suffering because you can't put a price on that. My toenail, ingrown toenail may hurt more than yours, but we don't have a measure of blood test to test what is pain and suffering. And there would be the just culture that would educate other doctors as to what happened and why we think it happened. It would be sort of a minimal fault. If there was a direct cause, if there was negligence, of course there would be mechanisms for that. So there's at least 3 viable proposals that would save much more than the money that it would cost to treat the uninsurable. It's quite simple. It's quite simple. And so with that, I think I'm going to wrap up and just say there's one model that makes my point. And that is that the last point that's important. Folks need to have skin in the game. I said that we'll have less lawsuits if the people that sue know that if they lose through a trivial suit, there's going to be some accountability. Currently, there's no accountability in the system. You see a commercial for XYZ drug on the TV, you go to your doctor, you say, that looks pretty good. Your doctor says, yeah, that looks pretty good, but you probably don't need it. And you say, yeah, but you don't write it, Dr. X will. And the doctor thinks, well, you know, someone else is paying the bill, and you know that someone else is paying the bill. You don't have skin in the game. High deductible policies do that. They create an awareness on the part of the consumer of the service, that in fact that service has value, and it starts bringing the market into force. And there is one system of which I have been a participant since I've been up in Northeast Missouri, serving a very underserved population. It's called the Mennonite healthcare system. It's a church group, you may have heard about that. Actually fairly technologically advanced. They're not Amish. They have cell phones, you know, they have big silos, they drive big tractors. But they're a self-insured group, as are many groups in America, just like the Safeway Food Corporation. And they have a very successful system that saves on the order of about 40% over their overall cost compared to any other group insurance plan. And how can they do that? It incorporates the essentials of what our new healthcare system needs to look like. A, they are self-insured, but each individual family unit takes care of their small ticket items. We're talking about essentially a high deductible plan. Every first dollar payment is not insurance. That's prepaid medicine. It raises the cost. As much as it would be nice to pay for everyone's ear pain and sinus infection, it's better off if these people are paying their own because they start asking questions. Doc, do I really need to have that mammogram every year? Could it be 18 months because of my risk factors? Doc, I'm a monogamous woman, and we know that HPV is a sexually transmitted disease, and I've only been with my husband, and he's only been with me, so do I really need that CAT scan every year? Doc, why are you ordering that CAT scan? Well, because I'm looking for a problem that's probably got an incidence of 1 in 1,000. They look at me and they say, Doc, you want me to spend $800 because it's coming out of their pocket? For a 1 in 1,000 chance? I don't think so. So in a way, you could say they're rationing, but they're doing rational rationing. It makes sense. They're playing the numbers. And what these people do is they negotiate cash discounts with the hospital and with the doctors. They ask the right questions because they have skin in the game. They negotiate cash discounts and they pay cash, which means the hospital and doctors don't have to have people arguing with insurance companies. They're doing an end around against the insurance, because I'm no friend of theirs either. And finally, they live lifestyles when we live in a country that 70% of our chronic disease, cardiovascular disease, cancer, obesity, are due to lifestyles. They lead low prevalence lifestyles. You see the little girls out there in their dresses hoeing the garden when they're 8 years old. People are working hard, they're eating healthy, they're staying close to the land, all the things we talk about in vital signs. So the incidence of their disease is lower. And again, I think it all needs to be spread throughout everyone that you can influence in your sphere. That if we develop a system where there's accountability, where there's some personal skin in the game, even if it's a Medicaid patient. My Medicaid patients want to have 5 ultrasounds during their pregnancy to look at the baby and check how the growth is going. And, oh, I want to see the little dingy on the boy baby. That's always fun. Really? And I say, but that costs money. And they say, well, whatever. And they pay $2 for a go-ahead. You see, that's why, and they don't get it from me, but there are people that will do that, right? Because if you're a doctor, the patient's asking for something, someone else is paying it, and if you happen to get a baby with cerebral palsy, irrespective of whether it was your fault or not, the patient's mad at you because you didn't do the test and someone else was going to pay for it. Bing, 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 someone orders that test. It's human nature. It's common sense. So those are a few of my thoughts. Let's go ahead and take some questions. We could talk all night about it. I really want to hear from you and see if there's some other thoughts you have. And fill in some of the blanks that we talked about.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Randy Tobler.